What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here's what we got going on today. The bike is still kind of where we left it last week. I did go ahead and clean the air filter and cleaned up a few bits and pieces here. I ordered some hardware. Some of the stuff was missing. I just found like an old early 90s CR250 bolt kit. So stoked because some of this stuff isn't exactly how I want it to be. Some of the bits and pieces that you can see, like bolts, I don't know, on the external side of the bike, I'm not super happy with them, so glad to have those so we can throw some fresh hardware in there. I know this bike is extremely old, so I can't nitpick it too hard, but some of the stuff isn't as clean as I'd like it to be, so glad we can have an extra set of bolts just to throw in if we don't like the condition of the current ones. But we got the tank to put on, the seat, a lot of the plastics, the front end set up, the triple clamp, and the forks. We also got the wheels. I went ahead and put a fresh set of Dunlops on here. I got an MX-33 in the front. I'm not exactly sure what is on the rear here, but I didn't know this, but I guess up until 94, I think 95, they switched to a 19-inch rear wheel, so I didn't have any 18-inch rear wheels, so went over to Coeur d'Alene Power Sports and picked up a fresh 18 to throw on their thing. And honestly, it might work out having that because there's a lot of woods riding around here, so might have to go check out some of the off-road riding while I'm in Idaho. But yeah, I think first things first, I think we might as well go ahead and lower the front end on this thing just to kind of even it out on the stand so I don't have to worry about it falling off. Might make it better, might make it worse, but we'll find out. All right, front end assembly is pretty simple. Just use some light grease to lube up the bearings and make sure nothing seizes up in the front end. Went in through the forks on. And like I'd mentioned before, I was kind of worried about the bike losing its balance on the stand, and unfortunately it did. So I went ahead and decided to put the rear wheel on, and like I'd mentioned before, a lot of these parts are pretty old, so I kind of just take my time detailing them with contact cleaner or soap or whatever it is to try and get them looking as good as I possibly can. And then to finish up with the rear wheel, we got to put the rear caliper mount on as well because it kind of acts like a spacer. So went ahead and finished up putting the entire rest of the rear brake assembly on and the front wheel. All right, so we had a couple little struggles getting some of this stuff back on, kind of remembering the way it goes. But I mean, starting to look like a dirt bike again. Got the front end on, rear wheel on. When I was doing the rear wheel, I totally forgot that obviously the rear disc mount or brake mount needs to go on because it kind of provides a wheel spacer. Threw that on, got this all ran, got the external, I don't know what it is, this cracks me up, like the external thing actually has its own mount off of the frame, so, but I guess back then things were so simple that they could just throw mounts wherever they wanted them. Anyways, moving on, I started to kind of button up all these rubber grommets and things that kind of protect the frame or the tank from the frame or vice versa. I know these go here, I'm almost positive, I remember that goes there. This, I'm pretty sure, if this isn't where this goes, let me know in the comments. I can't remember if it's on this side or the other side, but that protects the frame from that frame bolt. And then this side, I'm pretty sure that's where that goes. So again, if you guys are familiar with these or more familiar with them than I am, then let me know in the comments so I can readjust this stuff. But yeah, moving on, I think I'm really excited to get this tank on, honestly. That's like, I don't know, one of the highlight pieces, I think, just like making the bike look like a actual dirt bike again. It just feels like I'm missing something because there's so much wiring on a 450 that when you go to these, it's really simple, really. It's just this, some of the wiring that comes out of the cases that plugs into the ECU, which is tiny, and the kill button, and the spark plug cap. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on, get the tank on, and then start, I guess, buttoning up all the plastic stuff. I gotta put the foot pegs back on, but this thing's moving along pretty quickly. I mean, simple is best, and I think early 90s two-strokes are one of the definitions of that. All right, so like I mentioned, there's literally so much simplicity to this electrical system. Kind of trips me out, but yeah, literally 5 plugs, including the spark plug cap. So after that, we went ahead and put the radiators on. The previous owner was kind enough to include some brand new radiator hoses, but they were a little bit long, so I kind of had to trim them to the right length. And some of the fitment was a little off, so put the louvers on, which are always confusing, so struggle with that a little bit. So excited to put this tank on, but just kidding, had to take it back off because this radiator hose was a little too long, so took it off to trim it. took the radiator shrouds off because I wanted to make sure that the clearance was good so I could see everything, and buttoned up that tank and put the shrouds back on, and this tank strap, and of course the breather hose. So there we go, tank's back on finally. I don't know why I was so excited to get the tank back on. I guess because that's makes it look like a dirt bike again. I'm not sure, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and put the plastics and seat on just to kind of complete the look. I'm just really excited, honestly, to get this thing assembled, but I did want to show off some of these parts that a buddy of mine, Nate, gave me. That these were like, I don't know if they're like remakes or like they're actually like that old school factory. Like these are just the simple like fender bolts for the rear, and then this is obviously like the brake, I forget what you call these things, lever? I don't remember, but that goes there. I'm not gonna put it on yet, but do want to show how cool some of these parts are. Super light too, obviously you can't tell on camera. And then Ashton over at Palmer's Powder Coaters gave me these throttle pieces. Super cool coloring on these, kind of matches these parts that I just showed you guys. But I'm gonna go ahead, I think, put the controls on real quick. I don't have a clutch lever yet, so clutch cable is gonna just kind of dangle for now. Throw the throttle on, kill button, and then we'll start buttoning this thing up with the plastic. All right, so throttle assembly, I pretty much had all new parts for everything. The housing was basically like new. The previous owner also gave me a new throttle tube with the little ball bearing in it, so stoked about that. These single cables are so much easier than the double cables with the extra return cable. But yeah, got that on. The kill button took me a lot longer than it showed right there because I kept dropping stuff. But putting these plastics on, I'm always like, I don't know, skeptical, I guess, when I buy a used bike, because I don't know, even the guy before me or the guy before him, I don't know if they are the correct length or the right bolt or whatever. So luckily we had that spare bolt kit, so I was able to kind of make sure I had the right stuff through the rear fender on, the rear number plates, and then started with the front end of the bike with the front fender. Went on pretty easy. If you look close, you can see the that like fender spacer that I showed earlier, that aluminum piece that I had. It's almost like wedged in the triple clamp right there where the front plate mounts. I definitely I'll talk about it later, but I'm gonna make a custom bracket for it right there. I went ahead and tightened it, and it started spinning and then popped out. So for now, well, these zip ties will just have to do. Obviously I'll get that bracket made before we ride it, and then pretty much the last thing we'll do is throw on this brake line guide. Plastics are all on. I mean, some of the controls are there. I need to get a front brake lever and a clutch assembly. There were aftermarket ones on here before, and I totally forgot about them, so I need to order some OEM ones. But I mean, plastics are looking pretty good. I mean, I don't know, like some things are a little weird. Let me know in the comments. This is the way it fits, like the seat going on the outside. I know on the newer bikes it doesn't go that way. The seat brackets go inside of the plastics. I'm not sure why there's this gap right here on the bottom side of the number plates. Maybe that's just how it is and I just don't remember correctly, but it also looks, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but let me know in the comments if you guys know what is going on there. The pipe is off, getting some of the dent taken out and a little bit of a refinish to make it look like it's pretty new. The pipe that came on this bike and that was given to me is a really like cool part of this build that I'm really excited about, because it's kind of like factory-ish, like of that era. So I did want to kind of refurbish that one instead of getting a new one. Silencer is over here, but I'm gonna wait to put that on until the pipe gets back. One thing, I'm sure I touched on this in the voiceover, but one thing that was weird was you can kind of see it, like the clamp mount for the plate doesn't really line up with the plate. I'm not sure if this plate is not the right era or something, but it does look cool on here. I understand why it was done, because if I kind of held it up higher and there'd be a big gap here. So I'm not sure if that's like not OEM fit or it's not the correct year or whatever, but what the previous owner did was, it looks like one of these seat bolts that I was talking about. It was like wedged. Like I thought it had like a bracket that he made. I knew it was kind of offset, but it was kind of just wedged underneath one of these 8mm. So I think what I'm gonna do is make my own bracket, because that'd be super easy to make off of sheet metal and just get it tapped. Or not sheet metal, but aluminum, and just get it tapped so that I can have my own threads and it will work correctly and I'll never have to worry about that falling off. Also, if you own one of these and have a similar setup or something like that, let me know. I can get multiple ones of those made. I mean, it's all there. It's a dirt bike now. We just got to get the pipe. I got to put the foot pegs on, get the controls dialed in, obviously bolt check everything because I've just been kind of finger tightening most of this stuff, fill this thing up with fluids. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, oh yeah, and obviously graphics, but I did want to get this video up on Sunday, but it's getting a little late. This took a lot longer than I had anticipated, but if you made it this far, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week's video. If you don't already subscribe, like the video, it does a lot for me. I'm hoping to have some merch out soon, and I do want to have this thing done in the next couple weeks so that we can take it out on the track and hopefully put together an edit for you guys. So as always, thank you guys for tuning in. See you next week's video.
Aside from my soul.